You're going to understand the experimentation of determination of biochemical oxygen demand, that is BOD. You have to remember the full form of BOD. It is biochemical oxygen demand and not biological oxygen demand. So it is biochemical oxygen demand. Let's understand what is the definition of BOD. BOD is defined as the amount of dissolved oxygen utilized by heterotrophic aerobic microorganisms while oxidizing decomposable organic matter present in wastewater. So this is how the BOD is defined. So the amount of dissolved oxygen utilized by heterotrophic aerobic microorganisms while oxidizing decomposable organic matter present in wastewater is called as the biochemical oxygen demand. Here, uh, the few of the words are very important in this definition. That is, first is the amount of dissolved oxygen that is getting utilized, right? So we have already seen there is a certain amount of oxygen that is dissolved, and aerobic microorganisms require this dissolved oxygen for their various activities as well. So all the aquatic flora and fauna will dependent upon this dissolved oxygen, and also few of the heterotrophic aerobic microorganisms will also utilize this dissolved oxygen. They will be utilizing this oxygen, dissolved oxygen, for the oxidizing of the decomposable organic matter that is present in the waste water, right? So when I say 250, the BOD of my sample is 250 mg per liter, that means that 250 milligram of oxygen will be required for the heterotrophic aerobic microorganisms for uh, the decomposition of the organic matter present in the 1 liter of wastewater. Now DO and BOD are dynamically interrelated, right? So they are two different parameters graduated in opposite directions of the measuring device used for evaluating the pollution strength of the water bodies with a very delicate measure of overlap in between. It is within this overlap stage that the forces of the purification forces in the natural bodies, water bodies are operative. In a very simple or in a very brief statement, you can remember that the BOD value is the BOD is it is indirectly proportional to the DO value, right? So when as the DO, if the DO is zero, the BOD of that particular water will be very very high, and similarly, if the DO is high, the BOD of that water will be less, right? Previously, we have understood that the DO value is used to decide the pollution status of the water body. Pollution status in the sense if the water body is polluted or not. Yeah, and but if I have to find out the pollution strength, how much polluted that water body is, there is definitely this parameter, that is BOD, is it is commonly used, right? So no, whereas high DO in natural water body promoting existence and growth of the fish and such other aquatic life is an indication of the purity of water, and low DO is indication of pollution. As already said, if the DO is zero, the water body is polluted, and if the DO is high, the water body is not polluted, and particularly it will be promoting the existence and the growth of the fish and the aquatic life. However, when DO becomes a zero, pollution strength becomes indeterminate, right? So when I say that if I have two samples which come from a very polluted water bodies, and the DO of both of this sample will come zero, right? So now no, we can only comment that both of these samples are polluted, or both of these water bodies are polluted. But what about the pollution strength, right? So pollution strength becomes indeterminate, right? I can't say which of the water body is polluted than the other, right? So to get an idea, this BOD value is going to help us. So still domestic sewage have a BOD of 230 mg per liter. So the domestic sewage that we come out of our house has a BOD of 230 mg per liter. Dairy wastewater with has a BOD of 2000 mg per liter. Distillery effluent with the BOD as a BOD can be as high as 30,000 mg per liter, and these all have the DO value as zero. So all these will have the DO value zero, but the BOD different, right? So no, I think I'm making my point that if the DO will tell us only no, if the water is polluted or not, but how polluted the water is will be indicated by the BOD value. So no, if my BOD with 230 mg per liter value will also have the DO as zero only. The dairy wastewater with the BOD of 2000 mg per liter will also have a zero DO as a zero only. And distillery effluent with a BOD which is very very high of 30,000 mg per liter will also have the DO as a zero only. So to decide the pollution strength, the BOD value is useful. Therefore, when pollution load is high, determination of BOD rather than DO assumes significance, and very very important. So why not to find out DO if the pollution if the pollution is very high in a water body, because it will be only telling us if the water is polluted or not, which is which is known beforehand only. So to find out the pollution strength, we'll have to go for finding out the BOD, and hence for determination of determination of the BOD will gain significance in such cases. No, BOD exertion varies with time, temperature, and organic matter. Also, with the no, it also varies with the salt concentration as well. So all these factors we have already seen. No, they affect DO as well. So no, they will be affecting the BOD as well. Therefore, time, no, that is in days, and temperature, etc., are maintained constant, so that BOD specifically measures the biodegradable concentration of organic matter in wastewater. Therefore, no, as the BOD is going to vary with the time, temperature, and the organic matter. So here, what we can keep constant is the organic matter, and no, what we can keep constant is the time and temperature, and then we can find out the BOD values. So here, what is the idea that they have used is that they will be keeping the time as well as the temperature constant, because we cannot no, work on the organic matter. Organic matter will be continuously it will be completely it will be continuously oxidizing. So what constant that we keep our can keep our time and temperature, will be maintaining that as constant, and the BOD value can be found out for those constant values. So during BOD reaction, primarily the carbonaceous component of organic matter is degraded by soil bacteria and protozoa into CO2, H2O, and NH3 and bacterial protozoal cells over the period of 8 days. Right. So initially, when the BOD reaction starts, that is the oxidation. That is oxidation reduction of the organic matter, or the decomposition of the organic matter. The carbonaceous compound of the organic matter is degraded, right? It will be degraded with the help of the bacteria which are no present, like soil bacteria and protozoas, and the end product that we are going to get is carbon dioxide, water, and NH3, that is ammonia. We will be also getting some bacterial and protozoal cells due to the reproduction, and this happens over no this happens over the 8 days only, so starting 8 days. Now by this time, nitrifying bacteria, that is the nitrosomonas and the nitrobacter, will develop into large enough numbers to start oxidizing this ammonia into nitrites and nitrates. So this causes interference in the estimation of carbonaceous BOD beyond 7 to 8 days, and hence it is customary to determine 5-day BOD or 3-day, 5-day BOD, which is a fair measure of the pollutional strength of the water. So normally in India, we find out the beauty of 3-day at 27 degrees Celsius. So as said, the time and the temperature is remain constant, and for these values we find out the BOD. So normally, and the question is definitely asked, why 7 days or why 3 days in your oral? So basically, initially 8 days, this reaction. The initial reaction is the degradation of the organic matter and giving out of CO2, H2, and NH3. As this NH3 concentration increases no, beyond 8 days, what will happen is that the oxygen will be also used by the nitrifying bacteria to oxidize NH3 into nitrites and nitrates, and no, the oxygen, we won't be getting the right value which we require of oxygen. So we require the oxygen value which is used for the degradation of the carbonaceous compound, which is available, which continues for 8 days only. But if we find out the if we find out the BOD value after 8 days, the oxygen along with the degradation of the carbonaceous compound will also be used for the oxidizing of ammonia into nitrites and nitrates, and we will be getting the wrong value. So hence it is customary to determine 5 day BOD. If we take a 5 day into consideration, the temperature that we keep is 20 degrees Celsius. Normally in India we find out what is a 3 day BOD, keep considering the temperature as 27 degree Celsius, right? So during the BOD test, to eliminate variations in the biological activity because of the variation in the temperature throughout the test is maintained constant at 20 degrees Celsius or 27 degrees Celsius. So 20 degrees Celsius for 5 days and 27 degrees Celsius for 3 day BOD. Selection of 27 degrees Celsius as per New Indian norms is based on the consideration that it is the median temperature value of a natural water body, and also at that temperature multiplication of the soil bacteria that stabilize the carbonaceous matter is satisfactory, whereas growth of nitrifying bacteria is inhibited during the production of this test. So normally why we have kept it as 27 degrees Celsius, because of 27 degrees because 27 degrees Celsius is the median temperature of value of the natural bodies available across the India, and also at that particular temperature the multiplication of the soil bacteria which stabilizes the carbonaceous matter is satisfactory, and it is whereas the growth of the nitrifying bacteria which are going to interfere is inhibited at that particular temperature, right? So these two are the reasons why at Indian scenario we have chosen 27 degrees Celsius, and now we have 3 day BOD test. Thus, the determination of 5 day BOD at 20 degrees Celsius or 3 day 27 degrees Celsius is conveniently the standard practice, unless mentioned otherwise. Simply, if simply BOD means 5 day BOD at 20 degrees Celsius or 3 day BOD at 27 degrees Celsius. Now, a very important thing that you need to understand: if I do a BOD test for a sample, and I'm determining the value for it for a 5 day BOD at 20 degrees Celsius, I'll be getting the same value for the same sample if I conduct the test for 3 day 27 degrees Celsius also, right? So the values are not going to change. The BOD value for a particular sample for 5 day BOD and for 3 day BOD are going to remain constant, right? So now, what is the expected BOD exertion or satisfaction as the percentage of the ultimate BOD in relation to time days at 20 degrees Celsius for domestic sewage? So no, if I have seen, if I my incubation days, so I'm going to incubate this particular sample. So if I'm incubating it for only 1 day, the BOD exerted as percentage of the no BOD ultimate is 21. So the BOD ultimate is the ultimate value of the BOD that can be achieved, and no if I'm incubating that particular sample for 1 day, so and determining the BOD, I'll be getting the value which is around 21% of the BOD ultimate value. Similarly, for if I determine the BOD at a second day, the value that I will be getting is only the 37% of the BOD limited. So you can you can see how this is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like at the 20 days, so after 20 days now the BOD exerted as percentage of the BOD no ultimate is 99%. But no, we cannot continue our test till 20 days, right? So it's okay that we'll be getting the now 99% of the BOD ultimate value, but we cannot continue our test till 20 days. So we have limited our test to 5 days only, and no the BOD exerted at that particular day is sufficient, which is 68 percent. Now, what are the importance of the BOD test? Right, very important. BOD tests are used for determining the pollution strength, which I have already said. The BOD tests are used for no, for determining the pollution strength of organic wastewater, domestic or industrial wastewater, both. So I'll be getting the pollution strength, and that is the very important benefit. Now, the tests are used for designing the suitable treatment methods organic loadings of treatment plants, and also for evaluating efficiencies of unit operations and treatment system. The value of the BOD that we will be getting will be is very very useful, and it is used for designing the suitable treatment methods. We are also going to evaluate the organic loadings of the treatment plants, and we will be also it will be also helpful for deciding the efficiencies of the unit operations and the treatment system. So you would have got an overall idea that the BOD is very very important. No, it has also been used for determining the status of the treated effluents of disposal with reference to the recommended standards. BOD tests are also are used for carrying out stream sanitation studies and for enforcing water pollution controls. Like, so, if I have treated any domestic wastewater, and if I have to now discharge it, so that particular discharge depends upon what is the treated BOD, what is the BOD value that I've got for the treated effluent. If that particular matches the recommended standards, then only I can discharge. Also, this BOD tests are used for the carrying out the stream sanitation studies, and that will be helping us to understand the pollution strength of that river, and we can enforce the water pollution control measures as well. So this is the standards that are recommended for the BOD. So after inland surface waters to be used as a raw water source for public water supply and for bathing. So if I have to use, if I'm having any water body, and if I have to use that water body for the purpose of public water supply and for bathing, so the maximum permissible BOD at at 5 day 20 degrees Celsius should be equal to 3 mg per liter. 3 mg per liter or less. It should not be more than 3 mg per liter, right? So that has been given in Indian standard 2296. So if no domestic sewage effluent discharge into inland water surface. So if I've got a domestic sewage, no domestic sewage, and if I've treated it in the sewage treatment plant, the effluent from the sewage treatment plant can be discharged into inland surface waters only if the BOD maximum BOD is less than 20 mg per liter, and that has been given by Indian Standard 4764. Similarly, if I have to no, if I have an industrial effluent which is being treated, and now it is to be discharged into inland surface water. So the maximum permissible BOD at that juncture is 30 mg per liter. So I should have the BOD value of the treated industrial effluent less than 30 mg per liter, and it has been given in IS 2490. Treated effluents to be discharged on land. See, I've treated, if I've got a wastewater, I've treated the wastewater in the STP. Now that I have to, no, I do not want it to discharge into the inland surface water. I want it to discharge on the land. So for land, the limits are slightly on the higher side. So you can have the BOD as 200 mg per liter, not more than 200 mg per liter. So it has been given in IS 2490. Similarly, industrial effluents falling into the marine coastal area. So if I have to discharge the industrial effluents into the marine coastal area, the BOD should not be more than 100 mg per liter, and has been given in the IS 7968. Before starting with the actual experimentation procedure, we need to understand what is the principle of determination of BOD and some discussion points that are very important to understand the further experimentation procedure. So, what is the principle of test of determination of BOD? A known volume of a sample of a wastewater diluted using specially prepared distilled water is incubated at 20 degrees Celsius for 5 days or at 27 degrees Celsius for 3 days. DO depletion in the test bottle is a measure of fair amount of biodegradable organic matter present in the sample. To avoid getting zero DO at the end of the incubation period, adopted a dilution technique is used. So now what we are going to do is, according to this principle, we are going to find out the biochemical oxygen demand, and as you all know, biochemical oxygen demand is the amount of oxygen that is required by the heterotrophic aerobic microorganisms for the degradation of the organic matter present in the waste sample, right? So a known volume of that particular wastewater whose the BOD is to be determined will be taken. It will be diluted using a specially prepared distilled water. We are also going to see how we are going to prepare this distilled water. This distilled water is the aerated distilled water. Right, and we do an extended aeration for this distilled water. There is nothing different than this. It is a extended area. It is the distilled water which has undergone the extended aeration, and the distilled water has achieved the uh, DO saturation value at that particular temperature. So now that particular no, we are going to add a known volume of wastewater into this distilled water, and we are going to keep incubate it for 20 degrees Celsius for 5 days or 27 degrees Celsius for 3 days. We are going to find out the DO depletion in that particular wastewater which is mixed with this distilled water. So to find out the DO depletion, firstly we'll be finding out what is the initial DO of that sample, and then we are going to incubate it for 20 degrees Celsius for 5 days or 27 degrees Celsius for 3 days in a BOD incubator. And after after these days are completed, we are again going to find out the DO of that bottle. So DO initial minus DO final will be the DO depletion, and on the basis of this DO depletion, we are going to find out the biochemical oxygen demand. So here you can see at both of no here the main principle is to find out the DO depletion. So we are going to repeat the DO experimentation, but with a certain modification here, right? Now to avoid getting zero at the end of the incubation period, so it may happen that because we have a very high organic matter in the sample of the wastewater, so it may so happen that after incubation all the microorganisms will consume all the DO, right? So this shouldn't happen, because of if it is happening, what will happen, we'll be getting the no we won't be get we'll be getting the zero reading of DO at after 3 days or 5 days. To avoid this particular incidents, what we are going to do is we are going to use a dilution technique. So we are going to use a diluted sample of wastewater. We are going to mix it with no specially prepared distilled water, and we are going to find out the initial DO of that particular initial DO of that mixture of wastewater sample and distilled water. And then we are going to incubate it for 20 degree at 20 degrees Celsius for 5 days, or even we can go with 27 degrees Celsius for 3 days. So after completion of 5 days or 3 days, we are going to find out the final DO, and the DO initial minus DO final will be getting us the DO depletion, and with the help of the formula we are going to find out the BOD. Now let's discuss some important point here. So DO depletion is the difference between the immediate DO of the diluted sample and a 5 day or 3 day DO of the diluted and incubated sample. So as earlier said, we are going to find out the immediate DO, that is the DO initial, and we are going to find no immediate DO, that is DO initial, and we are also going to find out no the DO of the 5 day or 3 day uh, incubated sample. So that will be our DO final. So the difference between them is called as the DO depletion. Immediate DO should be determined within the 15 minutes of the dilution of the sample to minimize the effect of time and temperature gradients on biological activity. So all you know that the DO is going to get affected with the time and temperature, and here again the biological reactions or the biological activity will also start, because there is the organic matter present, and hence we'll have to determine the immediate DO or the DO initial within 15 minutes of the mixture, right? So immediate DO should be quite high or near the saturation value, right? So to get a immediate DO of the high value, we are going to aerate the distilled water, and because of that we definitely will be getting the immediate DO quite high, right? How high? So around 7 mg per liter is, we should get at least 7 mg per liter of DO for immediate DO or initial DO. 5 day or 3 day DO of a diluted and incubated sample should be at least 2 mg per liter. So we shouldn't be getting 0 mg per liter. So the least value that we are going to know that is targeted is 2 mg per liter. And also DO depletion should not be less than 2 should not be less than 2 mg per liter, right? So DO depletion, that is the immediate DO minus final DO, should not be less than 2 mg per liter. So empirically, the maximum and the minimum limits of DO depletion are 7 minus 2, that is 5 mg per liter. So here 7 is the initial DO and 2 is the final DO. So the DO depletion happens to be 5 mg per liter, or again it should not be less than 2 mg per liter. So for that particular instance, we should get the immediate DO as 7 and the final DO as 5. So your DO depletion, no, the DO depletion has a range, right? So it should be within 5 mg per liter to 2 mg per liter. So the DO depletion range is 2 to 5 mg per liter, right? So now here dilution technique that we are going to adopt, right? So dilution technique is adopted to, that I already discussed. The dilution technique will help us to avoid getting 0 mg per liter or as a DO value for the final DO. So this is based on the expected BOD value of the test sample considering the equation. So what we have to do is we have to no, we have to decide the dilution no, decide the dilution ratio on the basis of the expected BOD value, right? So we'll have to assume some BOD value, or we can find it through the literature. For example, I'm going to find out a BOD value of a sewage, right? So many researchers have worked on the sewage, and in literature they would have definitely published the BOD value that they have got. So that particular value can act as an no, can act as a guidance value for us, and that can be the expected BOD value. Now, depending upon the expected BOD value, we are going to decide our dilution range, right? So now, particularly the same thing I'm repeating. The expected BOD value will be telling us the dilution ratio that we are going to apply, or dilution factor that we are going to consider, right? So BOD5 at 20 degrees Celsius, the formula is like this: immediate DO of the diluted sample minus 5-day DO of the diluted and the incubated sample. So this entire, no, it is nothing but the DO depletion, and we'll have to consider some dilution factor. So into dilution factor, will be giving you the BOD5 at 20 degrees Celsius. The formula is very easy to understand. BOD5 at 20 degrees Celsius is equal to the DO depletion of a 5-day, the DO depletion that has occurred for the 5-day into this dilution factor. Like, so now this may be 7 minus 5. Now we have already seen, the highest range that we, the minimum and the maximum range can be found out with these two particular equation, right? So for minimum value, minimum value is this: 7 minus 5 is equal to 2 mg per liter. So this may be like this. It can be written that 7 minus 5 into the dilution factor will be the minimum, no, minimum value of the BOD for this dilution, for the considered dilution factor, right? Similarly, if I have to find out the maximum BOD value, that is the BOD range for this dilution factor, targeted dilution factor. So for maximum BOD value, we'll be using this relationship. So that will be 7 minus 2 mg per liter into your dilution factor. So for a particular dilution factor, the minimum values of the BOD and the maximum value of the BOD can be found out for this particular, for this by using this particular formula. Now let's say that no, I've taken the no, I've taken the dilution factor as 5, right? So here I get no, if my dilution factor is 5, so I'll be making you understand what this dilution factor 5 depicts. But as of now, just consider, if I've taken this dilution factor as 5, so just putting the value of 5 instead of df, what you will be getting: 7 minus 5 is 2. So 2 into 5 is it will be equal to 10 mg per liter, right? And similarly, if I put 5 here, so it will be 5 into 5 will be 25 mg per liter. So for a dilution factor of 5, the minimum value of BOD that we can get is 10 mg per liter, and the maximum value that we can get is 25 mg per liter, right? So by using this particular formula, so this is also one of the very important question for your oral point of view, right? Let's move ahead, and that we are going to see with the help of an example as well what is the dilution factor. So the dilution factor should be so chosen that the expected BOD of the sample lies within the range of the minimum and the maximum BOD values obtainable, right? So now here we know, particularly we know what is the expected BOD value. So the dilution factor that we are going to choose should be such that my expected BOD value should lie within the maximum and the minimum BOD value range for that considered dilution factor. No, for example, here we have taken an example. If my expected BOD is to come like 20 mg per liter, so my dilution factor should be 5. Why 5? We have already seen if I've taken the dilution factor as 5, so the minimum value of a BOD that I can get is 10 mg per liter, right? And the maximum value that I can get for that dilution factor of 5 is 25 mg per liter, right? So if I'm expecting my BOD value to come as 20 mg per liter, so I'll be taking the dilution factor 5 because my 20 mg per liter lies between this 10 mg per liter and 25 mg per liter. So right, so my dilution factor should be the expected BOD value should be within the minimum and maximum range, and depending upon that I can do or select a dilution factor. So dilution of 1 to 5 means one volume is dilated to the 5 volumes, right? So particularly we are going to see how this dilution factor of 5 will be working. So that will be no, we are going to see it in the next particular table. So table for consecutive dilutions for BOD measurable from 4 mg per liter to 20,000 mg per liter is given to us. So no, we are going to see a table in which we can dilute a sample to get a expected BOD from 4 mg per liter, right? So expected BOD from 4 mg per liter to 20,000 mg per liter. Now let's how this is going to work is given here. Now for example, I have to do I have to adopt a dilution factor of 2, right? So that means that the volume of the original sample is 1 and the volume of the diluted sample is 2, right? So it is the if I've taken, for example, if I have to understand this, so original sample I will be taking as 500, and I will be making that sample. No, I won't be adding extra, extra 1000 ml. I'll be taking 500 ml of the original sample which is to be diluted, and I'll be adding the distilled water into it in such a manner that the total volume will be, now the total volume will become 1000, right? So here if you know, if you take if you do the calculation, so here the formula is like 500 divided no 5 the formula for getting the dilution factor is the total volume divided by the volume of the original sample. So if you do this, see what is the total volume, it is 1000 divided by the volume of the original sample is 500. So 1000 divided by 500 is equal to how much? It is equal to 2. So that is nothing but your dilution factor. So what is the dilution? No, putting the value of dilution factor 2 in the above above equation, no other in this equation. So instead of 5 we'll be putting the value of 2. So 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 into 2 is 4 mg per liter. So the minimum value that I can, the minimum value of BOD that I can get is 4 mg per liter. Here also you can see it is 4 mg per liter, and the maximum value that I can get, so we have to put 2 here. So this is 5 into 2 is equal to 10 mg per liter. So the minimum value is 4 and the maximum value is 10. So you can see the range of the BOD measurable is 4 into 10. So likewise the whole table is made. Let's understand all these dilution factors one by one. So if I have to take the dilution factor, if I have to adopt a dilution factor as 4, so the total volume of the sample will be 1000 and the original volume of the sample will be 250. So 1000 upon 250 is what? 1000 upon 250 is 4. Now here what we are going to do, we are going to take we are going to take a 1000 ml measuring cylinder. In 1000 ml measuring cylinder, we are going to add 250 ml of the original sample, and we are going to add 750 ml of distilled water, so that the total volume become 1000 ml. No, so the total volume becomes 1000 ml. So here also if we put 2 into 4, the dilution factor is 4. So here 2 into 4 is 8, right? And 5 into 4 is 20. So we get this particular range. So now what we are going to do, up till now we are going to, up till now we are seeing the single dilution. So up till here you can see all these are your single dilutions. So what is the meaning of single dilution, that I'll be telling you when we come across the double dilution. So for dilution factor of 5, so the total volume is 1000, and the volume of the sample is 200. So 1000 divided by 200 is nothing but 5. So we are going to take a 1000 ml measuring cylinder. We are going to add 200 ml of the original sample and rest 800 ml of distilled water, so that the total volume become 1000. And that means that we have achieved a dilution factor of 5. Here we have dilution factor of 5. So 2 into 5 is 10, and 5 into 5 is 25 mg per liter, right? Similarly, for achieving the dilution factor of 10, the total volume is 1000, and the original volume of the original volume of the wastewater sample is 100. So how we are going to make it? We are going to make it, we are going to take 1000 ml measuring cylinder. We are going to add 100 ml wastewater sample into it, and rest 900 ml we are going to add distilled water. So the total volume becomes 1000 ml, and likewise we will be getting the dilution factor as 10. So for the range, the minimum and maximum, the range of BOD that we are going to get is 20 and 50 for this, right? So up till now, I guess you have understood. The same thing we are going to repeat for all these dilution till the dilution factor of 40. So 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 40, and 50. We have the same procedure, right? Now we'll have to understand the double dilution, right? So let's consider the dilution factor as 100, and what we are going to do here, I'll be explaining it to, I'll be trying to explain it in the better fashion, right? So here what we are going to do is we are going to take, we are not going to directly make a 1000 ml sample. We are going to make a 1000 ml sample, but in two steps. Previously we had made a 1000 ml sample in a single step. Here you can see, all these are the single steps, but here we are going to use a double step, and we are going to take an extra care here, right? So what we are going to do is, firstly we are going to take a 250 ml of measuring cylinder, and we are going to add 25 ml of our wastewater sample, right? So 25 ml of wastewater sample is added into 250 ml of measuring cylinder, and rest 225 ml we are going to fill this with distilled water to make a total volume of 250 ml, right? So then what we are going to do is we are going to extract 100 ml of sample, diluted sample from this 250 ml of measuring cylinder, right? So 100 ml is extracted by using the measuring cylinder, and that we are going to add to a 1000 ml 1000 ml measuring cylinder, right? So we are going to add this 100 ml into 1000 ml measuring cylinder, and then what we are going to do is then we are going to add, we are going to make the total volume to 1000, right? So how we'll be making the total volume to 1000? We are going to add 900 ml of distilled water. I'm going to repeat it again. Firstly, we are going to take an empty 250 ml measuring cylinder. We are going to add 25 ml of the original sample to it, and then we are going to make the total volume to 250 ml by adding 225 ml of distilled water. From this measuring cylinder, we are going to extract 100 ml of 100 ml of the diluted sample by taking it through a measuring cylinder. We are going to add it to 1000 ml of empty measuring cylinder, right? And after addition, we are going to make that complete volume to 1000 ml by adding 900 ml of distilled water. So what we have done, we have achieved the 100 ml dilution factor in a two steps. So I will be telling you how 100. So here you can see 250 divided by 25 comes out to be 10, right? So here we have done, in the first step we have achieved the dilution factor as 10, right? In the second step, if you see here also, 1000 divided by 100 is what it is, again 10. So in second step we are also achieved the dilution factor as 10. So the first first dilution factor, that is 10 here, right? 10 for this dilution factor, 10 for this step, into the dilution factor for this step, which happens to be 10. So 10 into 10 is nothing but your 100, right? So what will be the range? 100 into 2, that is 200 mg per liter, which is the minimum value that I can get. And here it is 500, so that is 100 into 5, that is 500 mg per liter. Now let's take another example. This is a two-step dilution process. So here for 200 as well, we have done the same, repeated the same step. Now here what we have done, we have taken 25 ml of original sample, we have diluted it to 250 mg per liter. From this cylinder, right, we have extracted 50 ml of 50 ml of sample, and then we have diluted it to 1000 ml. So here we have achieved the dilution factor of how much? The dilution factor of factor of 10 here, and in this particular step we have achieved the dilution factor of 20, right? So 10 into no 10 into 20 will be giving us 200, right? So similarly for 400 mg per liter, what for 400 dilution factor, we have taken 25 ml of original sample, diluted it to 250 ml, we have extracted 25 ml and diluted it to 1000 ml. So here in first step we have achieved the dilution factor of 10, and in the second step we have achieved the dilution factor of 4. So 10 into 4 comes out to be 400, and the corresponding range of BOD, that is 800 to 2000, is given here. So now up till now we have seen the double dilution. Let's understand triple dilution procedure as well, right? So in the triple dilution procedure, what we are going to do is, here we have to take no here we are going to achieve a dilution factor of 500, and how that is to be achieved, that we are going to see. So firstly, we are going to take a 25 ml of original sample, and we are going to dilute it to 250 ml in the measuring cylinder. From that measuring cylinder, we are going to extract 50 ml of 50 ml of sample, and further we are again going to dilute it to 250 ml. So further we are going to extract 100 ml of 100 ml of the sample from the previous 250 ml measuring cylinder, and we are going to dilute it to the dilute it to 1000 ml, right? So in the first step, we have achieved the dilution factor of how much? In dilution factor of here, if you see here, the dilution factor of 10 is achieved, right? And in this particular step again, we have achieved the dilution factor of 5, that is 250 upon 50, that is 5. So here it is 250 upon 25, that is 10 here. Here it is 250 divided by 50, that is 5 here. And lastly it is 100 divided by 1000. What is 1000 divided, no sorry, it is 1000 divided by 100, and 1000 divided by 100 is again 10. So 10 into 5 is 50, and 50 into 10 is nothing but your 500. The corresponding range is given here. 500 into 2 is 1000, and 500 into 5 is 2500, right? So here we have achieved the dilution, with the help of, triple dilution, right? So double dilution, single dilution, double dilution, triple dilution is, the way in which we can achieve this particular way, right? So again, you have to be very careful while doing this, while performing this dilution, and particularly it will be helping you to gain the accuracy. Now why we have done the double dilution or triple dilution? Now let's understand why triple dilution is required here. If we have to, if we have to complete, or if we have to get a dilution factor just of 500, just by single dilution, so how I would be achieving it? That particular thing can be achieved by putting like 2 ml in 1000 ml, no 2 ml in directly 1000 ml empty cylinder, and then 998 ml I'll be directly filling it with the distilled water, right? So here, then at, so if I have to do single dilution, I require only 2 ml of sample in 1000 ml of measuring cylinder, and measurement of 2 ml is not a precise measurement, right? So no, I can achieve it with the single dilution, but again you have to remember the small quantity is very difficult to measure. So what we are going to do, we are going to do triple dilution with the help of the larger quantity. So instead of why to go with 2 ml, so we are going to go with 25 ml as the initial sample, and then we are going to achieve the no dilution factor of 500, no dilution factor of 500. So even with a single dilution, it is possible, but you require very less volume, and less volume is very difficult to measure. So this is the philosophy why the double dilution technique and the triple dilution techniques are adopted. So here also you can go with the 4000, no, the 4000 dilution factor can be adopted, no, can be achieved. Here you have no taken 25 ml of sample, diluted it to 250, then you have extracted 25, then you have diluted it to 250, and here you have no again taken 25 ml and diluted it to 1000. So here particularly, if you can no if you can guess how is the dilution that we have done. The dilution in the first step we have achieved 10 ml as dilution factor, in the second step we have achieved 10 ml as the dilution factor, and in the last step we have achieved 40 as the dilution factor. So 10 into 10 into 40 is equal to it is equal to 4000, and that likewise we have achieved the dilution factor, and the range, corresponding range is 8000 to 20000. When the expected BOD of a sample is fairly known, at least two consecutive dilutions are adopted for each sample to provide an expanded range of measurable BOD. So now, if you are going to know, if you don't know the literature, from literature, we don't have got the value of the BOD, or some sample has come into a laboratory for which we have to determine a BOD, and if we don't know what is the expected BOD. So what we are going to do, we are going to take at least two dilutions, right? So we are not going to restrict ourselves with only one dilution factor. We are going to take two consecutive, like at least two consecutive dilutions are adopted, so that what will happen, the BOD value that we know, the BOD value falls between the expanded range, right? So we have taken two consecutive dilutions, so have got an expanded range for measurable BOD, and likewise we can add no we can avoid the no failure or repetition of the experimentation. So experience, history of the sample, and the virtual observation of color and suspended solids concentration enables the the expected BOD phi to be estimated fairly sensible. If the expected BOD is 100 mg per liter, adopt the dilutions from 1 to 20 and 1 to 40, so that the measurable range of BOD extends from 40 to 200 mg per liter with an overlap in between. Within this range, the actual BOD of the sample is determinable, right? So with the help of experience, and if you know what is the history of the sample and some visual observation of the color and the suspended solids, we can guess, or we can yeah, we can guess the expected BOD of that sample, and accordingly we can adopt the dilutions, right? So if you are expecting the BOD to be 100 mg per liter, so we are not going to restrict ourselves with only one single dilution factor. We are going to adopt the dilution factor of 20 as well as 40. So what will happen, we'll be getting an extended range of 40 to 200 mg per liter, and within this range no our BOD will fall, because we have expected it to be 100 mg per liter, right? Now, if the strength of the sample is not known, but the BOD of the sample is broadly expected to be within range guided by the description of sample, then three consecutive dilutions are adopted, right? So we don't know what is the expected BOD value, but we are particularly, but what we can say is that if the strength of the sample is not known, but the BOD of the sample is broadly expected to be within a range guided by the description of the sample, right? So we don't know what is the expected BOD, but now what we know is only the description of the sample with the help of a color or a suspended solid. So what we are going to do, we are not going to restrict ourselves with two dilutions. We are going to adopt the consecutive three dilutions, right? So now if the BOD of the sample is expected to between 200 and 500 mg per liter, then three consecutive samples with a dilution factor of 50, 100 and 200 are to be taken, so that we get an extended range of BOD measurement no, from this 100 to 1000 mg per liter, right? So this is just to be done for avoiding or repetition of the experimentation, right? So the actual BOD of the sample will be determined within this range. Keeping several dilutions at the same time is important, as the BOD 5 test cannot be repeated after 5 days unless the original sample is specifically preserved. Now you will be saying that why to do three dilutions? It is the waste of the sample and the waste of the energy. Yeah, it's okay, but what happens is that the BOD no BOD 5 test require 5 days, and after 5 days, if you are no after 5 days, if you are going to get a wrong result, or if you are not going to get a satisfactory result, so there is an actual wastage of 5 days, and also that sample has already become stale, right? So again we'll have to get the sample, and that particular is to be repeated again. So to avoid all this, it is always better to increase the number of dilution, right? So now there is some thumb rules that are established. The BOD test is considered a failure for any particular dilution under following circumstances, right? So when it is considered as a failure, first, if the 5-day DO is equal to or nearly equal to the immediate DO, right? So, if for example, if my immediate DO value is 7 mg per liter, and after 5 day of incubation, then also I am getting the value of final DO as 7 mg per liter only. So that means that there is a zero DO depletion that has occurred, and here we can say that the no BOD experimentation is failure. Now, why that has been done, why that has happened, why the immediate and the final DO value haven't changed? Because here the dilution that we have adopted is very high. The dilution that is adopted is very huge, and because of that, no biological activity actually took place, and because of that, no DO depletion took place, right? Now there is a second case in which where we can say that the DO the BOD test is a failure. So if the 5-day DO is equal to 0 or less than zero point 0.5 mg per liter, then also we say that the BOD test is a failure. So the no after 5 days, if I have got the value of the final DO as a 0, or if that particular value is less than zero point 0.5 mg per liter, the BOD test is to be considered as a failure, and we'll have to repeat it. Now, why we have got the 5-day value of DO as a 0 or less than zero point 0.5 mg per liter? Because we have done the dilution very less, right? So the dilution was very less, so the organic matter was very high, and because of that, the biological activity was the biological activity took place rapidly, and all the DO got consumed, and because of that, the final DO we have got as 0, right? So here what we can understand through this explanation is that too high dilution is also not good. That can also lead to a failure, and very less dilution can also lead to a failure. If we are doing a very high dilution, we have no very small quantity of organic matter that is present, and because of that, what will happen, there will be a negligible biological activity, and you will be getting the DO depletion as a 0. That means that the same values of the immediate DO and final DO. In the second case, if the dilution is very less, what will happen? The concentration of the organic matter will be high. Because of the organic matter, because the concentration is high, the biological activity will be rapidly taking place, or it will be taking place at a good pace. And what will happen? The entire DO in that sample will get consumed, and you will be getting the 5-day DO reading as a 0, or it is equal to zero point 0.5 mg per liter. In both the cases, the BOD test is considered as a failure, right? So if two dilutions of a sample give satisfactory results, and the variation in test results is less than 5%, then the average value represents the BOD value. If the variation in the results is more than 5%, then only the dilution which gives greater DO depletion is considered more significant and recorded for use, right? So, no, what we have seen in the previous explanations, that we are going to take two dilutions and three dilutions, right? So, if we are going to take two dilutions and three dilutions, what is going to happen is that for every dilution, the BOD value is going to remain same or vary here and there. vary here and there, but not huge. We won't be able to see a huge variation, right? So now, if I've got two dilutions, I've got two values of the BOD, right? So they shouldn't be vary. If they are varying in 5%, then what we are going to do? We are going to take the average values of this BOD value, and we are going to consider those BOD values for our further needful. If what is happening, if the BOD values have variation more than 5%, then then only the dilution, we are going to consider only the dilution which has given the greater DO depletion, and we are going to record the reading across it, right? So this is how it works while considering the BOD value. So now direct BOD determination of a sample is possible only when the expected BOD is very low and no dilution is required, that is dilution factor is 1. Ideally, the range of BOD at 20 degrees Celsius determinable without dilution is 2 to 7.7 mg per liter. So if the sample is if it is very pure and it is not polluted, we can take the dilution factor as 1. But in that case, the BOD range is in the range of 2 to 7.17 mg per liter, right? Now, the next very important thing that we need to understand is about the seeding. Seeding is no what is seeding? Seeding is the process of inoculating the organic mist water with live microorganisms that can initiate the biodegradation of the organic matter under favorable conditions. Right. So, what is seeding? Seeding is now what we are going to do is we are going to add live microorganisms in the organic waste matter to initiate the biodegradation of the organic matter. So this is called as the seeding, and no, you have to remember this word inoculating. We don't normally say that adding of microorganisms, right? It is the inoculation or inoculating the microorganisms with organic waste matter to initiate the biodegradation of the organic matter in the favorable conditions. Now, samples of the domestic sewage and the industrial effluents mixed with sanitary sewage in the pH range of 6 to 8.5 themselves contain enough living microorganisms. So, the sewage that is coming out from our house, that actually contains lot of microorganisms, and there is no need of mixture or there is no need of actual seeding. Even some of the if I have some of the industrial effluents and if I mix them with the sanitary sewage, then also there is no need of seeding, because the microorganisms from the sanitary sewage will be getting mixed with the industrial effluents, right? And if the pH is between 6 to 8.5, then definitely these microorganisms will be found. If the pH is less than 6 or more than 8.5, that means that acidic and basic conditions respectively. Now, samples of the industrial organic waste such as sugar factory waste, paper and pulp mill waste, textile waste, distillery waste, etc., require seeding, particularly when their pH is outside the range. Now, though these are the industrial organic waste, their pH is no, if their pH is outside this range, will have to go for the seeding, right? So they require the seeding. Now, samples that are acidified and stored below 10 degrees Celsius for preservation of some days before BOD determination requires pH correction and the seeding at the time of the test. The seed may be bacteria from organically rich soil, or the supernatant of the aerated domestic sewage, or an extract from the aerator mixed liquid of a successfully working ASP, that is the activated sludge process plant, right? But in our case, we are going to take the sample as the samples from the inlet and the outlet of the STP, which in themselves contain lot of microorganisms. Hence, there is no need of seeding. But I have covered this topic just to make you understand. If in an industrial waste, if you have the pH not within the range, so we'll have to go for the seeding process, and then only we can find out the BOD. BOD in such industrial waste comes to be very high.
During explanation, I have told you that we'll be requiring the special distilled water. The special distilled water is nothing but the distilled water which has been extensively aerated. So we have done extended aeration process, or here you can see the aeration process is continuing. The aeration process will add the dissolved oxygen into it, and the dissolved oxygen content of this distilled water will increase, but it won't be increase, no, it won't be more than the DO saturation value at the current temperature. So here you can see we have a fish aerator. So the blue color equipment is nothing but a fish aerator, and no, with the help of the this particular fish aerator and this type of nozzle, we are going to impart or we are going to add the DO. So here you can also see that the bubbles of the bubbles coming out because of the air addition, and that is nothing but the DO increase for this distilled water. We are going to see how we are going to do the double dilution. So for an example, we are going to do the double dilution for the dilution for achieving the dilution factor of 400. So the first step in the double dilution is that we have to take 25 ml sample and dilute it to 250 ml. So what I am going to do is I am going to measure the 25 ml sample with a 100 ml measuring cylinder. And then I am going to add it to the 250 ml measuring cylinder. Now the total volume that I required to make is 250 ml. So I will be adding the distilled water to make the total volume 250 ml. So now here we have got the total volume as 250 ml. So by completing first step, we have achieved the dilution factor of 10. That is 250 divided by 25. The next step is to take 25 ml of sample from this diluted sample. So I am going to measure it with the 100 ml measuring cylinder. And I will be adding it to 1000 ml measuring cylinder. Right? Now the next step is to make or to add distilled water so that the total volume becomes 1000 ml. Now we have made it 1000 ml. So now the dilution factor of this is 400. How come it has come 400? Previously it was 10 here, right? And with the addition of we have taken 25 ml from this to this, and then we have made it to 1000. So what we have done is we have made the dilution factor of 40, and here the dilution factor of 10. So 40 into 10, what happens to this 400? So here we have achieved the dilution factor of 400 for this particular sample. Double dilution, we are going to see the triple dilution, right? So we are going to achieve the dilution factor of 2000. So according to the table, what they have said is that we have to take the first step is to take 25 ml of sample and dilute it to 250. So I am going to measure the 25 ml sample. Yeah, and I am going to dilute it to 250 ml. We have diluted it to 250 ml. So the next step given in the table is to extract 25 ml from this diluted sample. So we are going to extract 25 ml. We have extracted 25 ml, and what we are going to do is now we are going to dilute it to 250 ml. we have diluted it to 250 ml. The next step here is to extract now 50 ml and then dilute it to 1000 ml. So what we are going to do is we are going to extract 50 ml from this. Right, 50 ml, and then we are going to dilute it to 1000 ml. Yes. So now what has happened is that we have made the dilution and achieved the dilution factor of 2000. How we have done so is that we have achieved firstly the dilution of 10 here, and after that again 10 here, and then we have achieved the dilution of 20 in this. So 10 into 10 is 100, 100 into 20 is 2000. You can also see the color change that has happened because of this dilution. So here it was more concentrated. So here previous before dilution we have this as the sample. So here you can see how the color change has happened as we have increased the dilution. So now here this is the sample of dilution factor 2000.
Let's see the calculation part of BOD experimentation. So the formula that we uses the BOD 3 at 27 degrees Celsius is equal to immediate DO minus of the diluted sample minus DO 3 of the diluted and incubated sample into dilution factor. So here BOD 3 at 27 degrees Celsius. If I have done the BOD analysis for 5 days at 20 degrees Celsius, so that particular value can be put. So that is BOD 5 at 20 degrees Celsius. So it is the immediate DO that we have found out. No, the immediate DO will be required, and here DO3 or DO5 of this sample will be required. And so this particular bracket is nothing but the DO depletion, right? So immediate DO will be on the higher side, and the DO of the incubated sample, that is the final DO, will be on the lower side. So this is nothing but a positive DO depletion value that we will be getting into the dilution factor. So for our case, we have taken the sample from lake water. The dilution that we have adopted is 1:200. So the dilution factor, that is the value of DF, comes out to be 100, right? So we have done no for let's find out what is the immediate DO for that sample. So the ml of the titrant required was 6.8 ml when we did the titration, and the normality of the sodium thiosulfate, that is the normality of the titrant that we have is 0.028 normal. So let's find out what is the no immediate DO. For that we have used no bottle A, so I have written it as to be bottle A. So the immediate DO comes out to be no the same formula that we have used for finding out the DO. Same formula I'll be using. I'll be just putting the value of the ml of the titrant required for bottle A. So that was 6.8, and now that I get the immediate value DO value to be 7.62 mg per liter. Similarly, for finding out the final DO values, I have put two bottles, that is bottle B and bottle C. So for bottle B, I required no 4.3 ml for the titration purpose. Again, the normality of the titrant was 0.02 only. So the final DO value by putting 4.3 ml as the value comes out to be 4.82 mg per liter. Similarly, for bottle C, also the titration was done, and 4.5 ml of titrant was required. The normality of the titrant was 0.028 normal, and now the final DO, putting in this same no, putting the values in the same formula, comes out to be 5.04 mg per liter. Right now, I can find out the BOD3 value by using no, two final DO values. So now for bottle B, if I substitute the values in the formula, I'll be getting 7.62 minus 4.82 into 100 is equal to 280 mg per liter. And for bottle C as well, I'll be getting the BOD3 value as 7.62 minus 5.04 into 100, that is 258 mg per liter. Now, during the discussion, we have seen that if the BOD value is more, no, variations in the BOD value are more than 5%, the the uh, BOD value is to be which was found with respect to the larger DO depletion value is to be considered. So here, if we found out the variation comes out to be 8%, which is more than 5%. So what we have taken is the value which came across the larger DO depletion value, that is, the value comes out to be BOD 3 at 27 degrees Celsius for the lake sample is 280 mg per liter. Similarly, we have also put down the sampling and the testing details, so you can fill up the details accordingly here, right? Similarly, the observation table we had, so the observation table can also be filled up accordingly.